most of them, in fact, wearing masks as they put this person into a van, a van that had been waiting. I believe this, or one of these operations was on Canal Street here in New York. Earlier, it was at a different part of Manhattan, a few blocks from there, where some arrests were made. And every time these officers move in to make arrests and enforce the immigration policy of the president, which is what they would tell you they're trying to do, they are met not only by protests from some local officials, somebody spitting at the van right there, but by a number of media officials. We have our own camera down there as well. So this has been going on. See, part of that street is clearly blocked to traffic right now. So this is an ongoing operation in New York City. It's been happening on and off throughout the day, and we've been able to catch some of it live when the ICE operations have picked up. Earlier we saw, agents walking up a street after they had made an arrest, looking possibly to make another arrest, and then quickly they moved locations, and apparently they've settled on this particular location. If you find out, Claudine, exactly where this is, tell me, but I think earlier it said it was on, part of it was on Canal Street. See if we can hear some of this for a second as well. All right, so some of the people are chanting towards the federal agents, and now I'm not sure if this is going to be the only piece of enforcement's on Lafayette. Okay, this is Lafayette Street in Lower Manhattan. I'm being told is where we're looking at these ICE officials, HSI agents, and others clearly making what looked like an arrest when we first went to them. There's a person in handcuffs that was put in a white van, and now that's probably one of the federal agents' cars that's being pulled away, but it's being closely surrounded by, news producers and reporters. We'll get Jessica onto an IFB in a moment, and there she is. She can tell us. Are you on IFB, Jess? Can you hear me as I'm talking to you? I don't think she can. So, all right, so as soon as... Okay, so Jessica, she's just trying to dial in on her phone so she can hear me. This is Connell, Jessica. Can you hear me when I'm speaking to you? Good. All right, so I want you to be careful, obviously, as you're backing up, but tell us exactly. I was trying to describe what I saw, but you'll know more. What are we watching?
Okay, right now we have several people who are protesting out here. We are walking through Tribeca, and you can see there are hundreds of people. ICE agents have arrested at least one person. Now, whether that was an undocumented immigrant or a protester is still unclear, because people got wind of what was happening, so they started yelling chants. They came down the street. We were here just below Soho, so like right on Canal, which divides Soho and Tribeca, and word got around that they were going to be making an arrest or raids, right? So everyone packed up all of the things that they were selling, all of the little kiosks along the street, and fled. As soon as people started to see this, that's when all of this started happening. All of these people are protesters. Again, anyone who's been taken into custody, we cannot confirm whether they were actually undocumented immigrants or protesters. The protesters are causing a lot of the issues out here. Blocking traffic, they are pushing people.
I don't want these people in our fucking city.
Say that to us. Say it, but say it cleanly, please. You don't want people. Why are they
We don't
here?
want these people in our city policing them. They should not have the jurisdiction that they do. They're fakers. I don't believe them to have this authority. I don't think they should be able to cover their faces. They should not be able to kidnap people in the streets.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What about all the traffic that's being blocked and people that need to get
little
emergency?
traffic and stuff. It's New York City. You cannot. Traffic being blocked is okay if we're going to stop them from kidnapping people, innocent people.
Okay, thank you for talking with us. So as you see, they are, I don't know where we lost our photographer. Yeah, this is what's happening here. And it is just hundreds of people, and people just keep growing, gathering, joining this line. We're now walking down the street even further, down Lafayette, heading toward downtown. People are in suits coming from work. People are just getting off the subway. A lot of people aren't even sure what they are protesting. What did you just say, sir?
My cousin!
Did they arrest him?
Yes! He's back in Dominican Republic!
Yeah, so a lot of, okay, we apologize for the language. There's a lot of people, but people have been throwing things at the ICE agents, blocking traffic. I hope you guys can still hear me okay.
Yes.
But this whole area, if you can avoid this area, do so, because we're just hoping that it doesn't get more violent.
Where are they going now? In other words, are they following the agents as they walk down the street? Is that what's happening, or is this just purely a protest?
No, that's exactly what's happening. This is just a makeshift protest. So this is one of the ICE vehicles here. They were walking back to their cars. Now, one of the agents you can see just getting out of the car, trying to get a hold of one of the other ones. People are pounding on the windows of the car. Whether anyone is inside or whether anyone has been arrested is unclear. Again, people are just stopping traffic, standing in front of the ICE agents, yelling racial slurs. You can see this woman over here is blocking traffic. I've got to move so I don't get hit. There are people here, the ICE agents are trying to get out, and come with me here, Greg, they're not letting them leave. So it's unclear whether people are even inside the vehicle aside from these agents, but these women aren't letting them go anywhere. And at the risk of sounding sympathetic, they're yelling, they're pushing the agents, and the minute that the agents move somebody, that's when these people get thrown to the ground and tensions flare and escalate. So the whole situation is just incredibly volatile, very scary. People are upset, obviously. But it's, things escalate quickly, and it's unclear whether anyone was actually arrested who is undocumented here. It just seems to be the protesters at this point.
Those vehicles are able to make it out of there. That was a challenge when we covered all of this in Los Angeles at the facilities where the vehicles were trying to pull away. People would stand in front of the vehicles. We saw live on our air one day somebody got run over. That nearly happened there, very tense, but those vehicles are able to get away. If people were not with us, Jessica, last hour when you were covering, I believe a few blocks from there, a active raid that had been happening, there were arrests made then, do we know?
Yes. So we're hearing mixed reports. We saw one arrest, we've heard there were as many as 4. Now anyone who's been taken into custody, again, it's unclear whether they were protesters or whether they were actually undocumented. This just keeps growing as people are making their way downtown now at this point toward the financial district.
All right, we're losing Jessica's feed there because she's on the move. Keep talking, Jess. If we hear you come back, I'll let you, I think, there you go. I think we have you back. Go ahead.
Gotcha. Right, we had gotten word that ICE was going to make a raid down here on Canal and Broadway. So people came down, media was set up. There were several people who were kind of in the know. Many of those little makeshift kiosks were set up that are typically set up on the street had already been cleaned up. So people had an idea that they were coming. One man started running up and down the street saying, ICE is coming, ICE is coming. They attempted to take him into custody. Once they realized that he was a legal U.S. citizen, they let him go. They came back a few minutes later, walked around a perimeter down Lispinard, and arrested someone else there. That's when we came on live with you. Then they cleared out. Everything was gone. Everything was quiet. 3 minutes ago, we got word that there was another arrest on Canal Street near Broadway and over by Lafayette. We headed in that direction, and that's when all of this started happening. Greg, if you can go this way, sir, I'm so sorry. If you can see, there are police running down the street here. I don't know, there's some man who's following us. I don't think he realizes what we're like. You can see they've got pepper balls and pepper spray. They've got pepper balls and pepper spray. Now we've got tanks. This is Homeland Security investigation. There's some, but you can see there's people like, just citizens who are trying to capture all of this. Greg, what's that?
Okay, I'm going to talk for a moment, Jessica. You're still on the air, so keep walking, keep talking. We're losing your audio a little bit. I'm just going to fill the time because of that heavily armored vehicle with the loud sirens passing you. Now it should be clearing a little bit. Is that the first time you've seen that type of, heavily armored reinforcements set in, military-grade, vehicles? Is that the first time you've seen that today?
Yeah, this has just taken a major step forward. Things have escalated. This is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this. they came out of nowhere. It went from officers who were getting out, walking over to people, checking their IDs, to this armored truck and officers armed with pepper spray and guns. And this man who, again, I think what's very difficult here for people at home is that there are a lot of people here on the streets who are watching all of this happen, but then they started pushing the officers. And so that's like, there's two separate things happening here. There are the arrests, but then there's also these this harassment of these officers, and then you've got people who are trying to get home in the afternoon. So no, we have not seen anything like this. This is all of the financial district being blocked. If you can stay with me, we're going to keep walking down, seeing what else we can see. You know, it's hard to believe that this is Manhattan and it's 2025 and it looks like a war zone out here. People are masked up. They're not showing their faces. Everyone has a cell phone out. They're videoing it and sending it back. It's just causing such a stir. And, you know, to be totally honest, it's very difficult to watch. This is a city that we love. This is a city where there are so many people who are working very hard. It's just so incredibly divisive. And regardless of what your view is, it's a difficult situation all around. Here is this armored vehicle. As you see, we have not seen it. Somebody's on the ground. We're running over to that. Our photographer, Greg, is running. Now again, this person, we've been watching this person. He has been pushing ICE agents and police, and people have been defending him. There's another woman right in front. She was also pushing some of these officers. Whether they know someone who was arrested by police for being undocumented is unclear. Again, we're trying to figure out how many arrests there actually were that were undocumented immigrants as opposed to protesters. At this point, these are protesters who are being arrested.
You notice right away there that protester being arrested was covering his face, and the agents took the face covering off of him when he was on the ground. But you said you saw that person earlier causing issues?
You know, yes, and I know that there's a lot of discussion as to whether people come down and kind of stir the pot in some of these situations, whether he was one of those, you know, protesters or activists. There has been this group of people, this woman also kind of threw herself in front of vehicles. We thought she had gotten hit by a car momentarily. Same thing, the man, he had his face covered the entire time. His covering is actually right here on the ground. He was taken into custody. It looks like a t-shirt that he had been wearing. But again, they're still on the move. Now, this is rush hour traffic in Manhattan. We just walked from Soho through Tribeca. Now we're toward the financial district and right by the U.S. courthouse where we've been covering several stories as of late. People are just yelling at the police officers. You can see people in suits coming out. Now they're turning right. Just to give you some perspective, we are on Lafayette now, and let's see. Yeah, but they are heading out. They're just trying to get out of here. Fully square, thank you. Yes. Yeah, so
that's
you
right
can
by
see
the courthouses, right? Like you said, that's fully square.
We are right at the courthouse,
right
where we've been covering Mangione trial, and Diddy just around the corner here. So what's happening is, police officer, there's a woman in an Amazon jacket here, cursing at officers. Yeah, I see. What are you seeing, ma'am?
I'm seeing that they're throwing people on the ground for simply standing and using their First Amendment right to protest.
Okay, why did you join the protest, and where did you join the protest?
I joined at Canal Street. We heard noise from our office and came on down because this is insane what they're doing to people. It's inhumane.
Have you seen them making any arrests of undocumented immigrants or protesters?
Protesters, yes, they're doing it right now. You're missing it. This woman was literally just standing in the street trying to get across it, and they threw her on the ground.
Military vehicles that they pulled in?
Yes, we have. Thank you for talking with us. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of people are angry with us for covering this. There's just a lot of anger overall. But as you can see, it's some of the same people that have been walking all the way across, and they're just so angry. I've never seen people just so emotional about all of this.
Have you seen any New York City police officers, Jess? Any NYPD at all, or all federal agents?
Yeah, right there. You can see them. They are just starting to pull up. So now they've got federal agents and the police are standing right here. So they're all in blue. Then you'll see some people with like zip ties. I'm sorry, I don't want to get hit by a car. You'll see people with like holding zip ties that they would use to make an arrest. And then you've got, you know, people who are just trying to get home right here, you know, driving up and down the street, just trying to, who are caught in this mess. You've got people on bikes. You've got people yelling here. I mean, you've seen these images before, but they're yelling at the police officers. This is the strategic response group of New York PD. I would say there are a couple dozen police officers, and they're just kind of watching all of this unfold. Lots of shame on you. Now they're all yelling shame on ICE and on police and staring at them. You know, these police officers had nothing to do with what was going on down there. They're just here making sure that the courthouse and the entrance and everybody who's coming out is doing so safely and protecting them. Again, you know, it's very emotional on all sides.
So just to take our viewers back to where this all began, a couple of hours ago, really, the late afternoon in New York, we started hearing that there would be some immigration enforcement operations in Lower Manhattan. So Jessica, you're looking at here, went down to the scene. And when she arrived there were arrests being made. Now, Jessica, for our audience, if you could recap that, was the target, at least at first, and now it's spiraled into a mix of enforcement operations and protests, was the target at first some of these street vendors, or was it a business, or did you not know early on when you got there?
We had heard that they were going to target undocumented people who were selling those little vendors on the side of the street, that there were several right around Broadway and Canal. And when we got here, as I mentioned, there were several different media outlets. There were people with cameras. People had been tipped off. So this man saw that we were sitting there. He said, "You guys are media. Something's going on." And we just, you know, kind of sat back. It's not our job to, it's, you know, we stay out of it. And they saw an ICE agent coming down the street, and he ran down the street and started yelling, "ICE, ICE, ICE, get out of here." So they took him into custody. It turned out that he was, in fact, local and an American citizen, and they let him go. Then 2 blocks later, that's when they made another arrest of someone who was here illegally. They put them into custody. Then nothing, crickets. It was like everything just disappeared. They were gone. We were kind of packing up our things, and we got word that something was happening down on Canal. We headed down to Canal, and that's when we saw all of the protesters. So they're telling us that someone was taken into custody. We believe, and again, you know, we can't confirm that it was an undocumented person who was taken into custody, rather a protester. There were several people there who were kind of egging the ICE agents on, pushing them, standing in front of their cars, and so as soon as they would pull them kind of out of the way, that's when it would start shame, 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 shame. What's also difficult is everybody's wearing masks or some kind of covering. So the person that we just saw arrested live, he had that face covering on. So they're telling them to pull him down. Well, ICE also has them. They're also walking around with these, you know, pepper spray guns, and you saw the big tank, you know, coming through here as well. So of course they're covered up.
Do we know if the operations are continuing? And, you know, it seems like they moved from location to location. Or again, you're talking about this being a protest, but there were clearly federal agents there doing something when you arrived there. But has that wrapped up, or is that continuing, or,
yes.
or do we not know?
Those federal agents are out of here at this point. We are just seeing police. They got in, they took off. We saw them when they fled the scene. Now it's protesters who are yelling at New York City police officers, who again are just kind of protecting Foley Square. One woman is yelling, you know, shame on you. And I'm sorry, it might be a man, yelling shame on you, just trying to, you know, get police officers here to react. These police officers had nothing to do with any of this. They're just kind of, you know, taking care of this area and watching people who are coming out of the courthouse and trying to head home for the evening. But yes, they were, the goal here was to make arrests initially. This is a very impromptu protest. There was no counter-protest that had been planned this afternoon here. This is all just happening as you're watching it at home.
Okay, so just for where people are located, by the way, watching News Nation live coverage of a ICE immigration enforcement operation that's turned into a protest in real time in New York City. Jessica Cartalia is covering it in Lower Manhattan. I'm Connell McShane in the studio. And as we watch this, we're right around, and you described it, Foley Square, where many of the courthouses are, both local and federal, federal buildings down there as well. So are any of those buildings, as far as you know, involved in any way in any of this?
No, and you know, the courthouse for many, closes early. So if you want to take a look behind me here, Connell, this is the courthouse. We were just here the other day for a Mangione hearing. Right around the corner is where you would, federal courthouse, where you'd hear New York State City. Anyway, this is all of these buildings are being protected by the police officers now who are standing outside. So I'm literally right in the middle of Foley Square, which is incredible to say in itself because it's the middle of rush hour on a Tuesday evening. But everything has kind of quieted down now that the federal agents have left the scene, and it's just the police who are making sure that everything stays quiet, and now people are starting to disperse.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this as we watch your pictures. Jess, you could keep showing us. You could do some more reporting, take a second. Great job with this, and find out any other information you can. I want to bring John Sanweg in. Of course, the former ICE director joins us on these immigration issues often. A. Scott Bolden, Denise Gitchenberg Wealth as well.